Good morning, everybody. Just try and get organised as usual. Right. Okay, can we hear that? How do I sound? There's a mess. Get that there. YouTube. That's it. It's performance art, that, isn't it? Hi, Jenna. Hi, Arcade Axiom. It's a cool name, that, isn't it? Just allow me to do my thing. Really settled. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. Create. Go live. All right. Beauty light. Very good. How are we all doing? Looking forward to the blistering solos. Right, well, my hands are freezing. I've got a hot water bottle, so but I'll get to it. That's probably in tune enough. Mix session. Oh, that's good. Pedal's not working. I wonder why. Use which one? Hi JJ, how you doing? Wow, 1:30 a.m. Right, well I hope I keep you awake for a bit in a good way. I can see your comments there. I wonder why my comments not showing up here. My hands are absolutely frozen here. Right, hold on, I need to warm these up somehow. Alright, well that's not going to work. 2 seconds whilst I get a hot water bottle, won't be long. I'll just put this on. Talk amongst yourselves. Wait a minute. And I'm back with a hot water bottle. Good, you kept the conversation going. All right. Greetings all. My comments are not showing up here. Right, so I'm back to that. Not sure. Kurt, it's 1:30 in the morning. Wow. It's sure nice to see the channel growing so nice. I remember when you began, sounding wonderful as always. Be well and have a great day. Evening in your time zone. Thank you, Perplexity. Yes, welcome back. Anyway, your comments are coming through all right. It looks like it. So please, everybody, if you liked the jam before and you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel. And I'll just play us a bit of tune. Ooh. Hi, Leon. Alright, I think 6 minutes of that is probably enough. Right, let's see if I can get this camera to switch on. 2 seconds. So, alright. There we go. Short. There we go. Still struggling at building accurate speed with my pinky ring finger when doing legato exercises. Have any advice? Probably loads of advice. I came across a good little exercise on the internet. I'll just get my footstool out. You'll kind of like this one, but then hate me for suggesting it in the first place. But let's have a zoom in because it's a good one. Right. So we're going to do this ascending. I'm not fully warmed up here, but it'll be a good one to do, I think. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the C chromatic scale. So if you don't know what a chromatic scale is, it's all 12 tones that we have available to us. And the way that you play a chromatic scale is it sort of goes backwards on itself. So you're playing 4 notes per string, and then you move back a fret, back a fret, back a fret. Now we're on the 3rd string. You wouldn't move back a fret here simply because the guitar's tuned differently. We're in 3rds as opposed to 4ths. So that bit you just go across and then we come back one and we go into there. But if you wanted to just finish the octave off, you just slide it one. But that's as far as the exercise is going to go. So these are the notes that we're playing. So Kurt, this is what you're going to do. You're going to play this sequence. So I'm starting on my 2nd, So you start on your 2nd and I'm going pick, pull off, hammer, go to the 3rd finger, pick, pull off, hammer, 4th finger, hammer, pull off, sorry, no pick, so I'll do that again, I'm still waking up, you know. Right, so pick, hammer, pull off, hammer, hammer, pull off, hammer, hammer, pull off. And then we're going to do, you can do a hybrid or you can pick. Pick. And that's a good way to get all your fingers warmed up. Time. So we'll look at the other hand. I'll just zoom out. So this hand I'm just going pick. And that's all legato. Oops. Another thing you can do is instead of using the pick, you can just do hammers from nowhere. There's another way. And that's a really good exercise to build that accuracy. The good thing about it is it just gets the action in your hand, all the fingers unified, doing very similar sort of movements. Because sometimes it can be a little variation in tone, a little variation in how hard they hit the strings and the coordination. So this really helps. I find going down a little bit more harder. So very similar. So the sequence is and there we go. David Spade, the algorithm's kicking in. I I want to learn. 23. Hi, how you doing? So, are you interested in music, or do you just do you look for people who look like people, and then tell everybody that they look like somebody? Getting immense feedback and enjoyment from doing so, no doubt. Excellent. There you go, Kurt. So it's really good. I was watching this jazz fusion guy doing it. I wish I could remember his name. He's like an amazing player. What he was doing is he was recording himself into Ableton or Cubase or whatever, and then slowing it down so you could hear like imperfections, and then he was trying to tidy them up. Hi Wayne, how you doing? Well, it's really helped my technique doing that exercise. So if you're liking the show, anybody out there new on here or hasn't liked, please hit the like, please chat, helps the algorithm, and become a member. You make it look easy and effortless, thank you. Hi Tracy. Well, that was a good jump. You know, 6 minutes just passed very, very quickly there. Just honestly, in the blink of an eye, it's gone. It's amazing. Hope you guys are enjoying the show and not getting too bored. Hi to Tracy. My cats do too. Oh, good. Hi to the cats. What was I going to say? Your playing is in the classic timing pocket. Are you aware of it? Could you play along with a classic like Miles Davis? I could play. Yeah, I could play something more. There's something here which I quite like to play on. There's like this backing track which I quite like. So there's that. Hold on, and then there's this. Try this one. There's a couple here. So I'm really, because I've been getting, as we all know, I get bored quite quick. Well, not quickly. I just get bored of my playing. So I'm always looking for like new things to do. That are going to be big sort of like quests to go on. And over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of upgrading on my playing. So I went from an alternate picking to retrofitting economy picking into my playing. I've gone back to legato, really big style, and then I was very much sort of like, you know, playing inside. And then I've got interested in playing outside, and that started with just basic rock chromatic approaches, you know, which I'll show you in a minute. So basically, in a nutshell, you're going from a pentatonic box, say, and if I want to get to, like if we're in E, if I want to get to any of these notes, I'll just roll up to them. Which is fine, it's a great way to start, but then I've started getting into, I just get bored of my playing, so I like try and expand it. That's a good thing, being bored. And then we'll start getting into enclosures, you know, where you have a target note and then you surround it with other notes, some of them not necessarily actually in key. So something like that. Where you're sort of organising the notes a bit more. But that timing comes from just listening to a lot of Tom Quayle stuff and how he approaches legato, because he's the master of timing, really, when it comes to this. Because you're not picking all the time, you have to feel time basically when you're doing legato. At least a lot of the time anyway. Who is the master of this? So like, there's lots of masters of this that I'm influenced in. So like Alan Holdsworth, Richie Kotzen, Greg Howe. I wouldn't say massive influence, but Tom Quayle for the technique. Although I do like some of his approaches to harmony and chromaticism and improvisation. He's got some pretty cool stuff there. I really like Jack Gardner, he's very good, and then obviously Rick Graham. It's like those players, but they're all sort of, most of them are quite big legato players, you know. I particularly like Greg Howe's approach, because I really relate to him, simply because he's a rock player who's transitioned over the years into more fusion-y jazz stuff. So I see part of my journey very sort of similar to his. Alan Holdsworth is the guy. Yeah, Alan. Richie Kotzen is a big influence for me. Hi, Donald. So I don't know how that stands up on a more fusiony jazz sound. JJ, I had a friend who babysat for Alan's kids once. He said there were amps and beer bottles in the hall. Yeah. Yeah, so I watched a few documentaries on Alan, and apparently the sort of like end of his life wasn't great on the drinking front. He was drinking a lot. Oh, what videos are these? Donald James, your videos are awesome. Check out a couple. I'm going to check out a couple. Gary Moore's great. Rory Gallagher, amazing. I don't think... I briefly was into Gary Moore. But I wouldn't call him a massive influence. But yeah. So any other guitar questions? Anything else? I'm going to pour a coffee here because I haven't had enough coffee today, and then I'm going to get on with another jam. So things that are particularly interesting to me are chromaticism, and I'm really getting into. There's a brilliant book by Brett Garstad, who I'm a massive fan of. Is like education stuff anyway. I've only just started really getting into his music, but he is an absolutely amazing player, and also a guy who was really into, who's one of his major influences was Alan Holdsworth. So I do like his approach to sort of like the whole fusion thing, because it's very easy to understand him and Greg Howe. Because I think they're both sort of rock players who you know have developed into that. So I really kind of understand the journey that they've been on. But yes, I've been doing a lot of that. What kind of things in music tech do you wish were free for musicians and that limit people? Well, I think all music technology limits people, and I'll tell you why I think that is because it just gives you more choices, doesn't it? It gives you this feeling that now there are limitless, infinite choices. Where do I start? Also, what it means is you're learning little bits of equipment and ideas, and you're not really specialising or becoming an expert in absolutely like anything in particular. You're just using bits of things. So you don't really dive deep, you don't really get to the limitations of things where creativity lies. I mean, creativity by definition is a method of operation, and John Cleese said that, the famous British comedian who I think is still alive. But actually John Cleese spends a lot of his money on research into creativity as a science. So yes, it's a method of operation. In other words, when you're being creative, you're problem solving. But we have all of these tools made by companies, and all of those companies are trying to fix problems that you haven't necessarily experienced. So if you haven't got one of these problems and you're unaware of it, then it isn't a problem to you. Yet people buy all of this stuff thinking that they might encounter this problem, learn to use it and waste the time and never really make music. That's what I'm saying. So when you look at sort of my like live template, like here, I mean, this isn't the one that I produced music on, but it has elements of things that I use to produce music. And here's a great tip. Like, I use this. Look at this synth here. This is it here down at the bottom. That's it. and it's just sliders, and I can visually see it, and that's all there is. Now, I don't have to go preset surfing because I know what all of these do. Any sound I want to make, I can just make it. If it's I just decide, is it a long sound, is it a short sound, is it a pluck, is it a smooth sound, does it fade in, does it sustain, is it bright, is it dark? And those questions, providing I can instantly answer what it is, I can just make it. The rest is exploration, and you get there, and you're using these things in a really musical way. So I've been using, those have been my favourite things. Obviously I've got like the bigger synths, but I know how to use it, you know. There's an update for that. I'll have to sort that. So yeah, just a small tip. Oh, right, how's that? Like a static thought. Oh, you know what that is? Has it gone yet? Right. Is it still... Right, okay. Bear with me. Right. Is it still static? Okay, how's that? Right, static, still static. It's not the microphone, it's the interface. Definitely. 1, 2, 1, 2 with drop gain. That's really interesting, isn't it? Yes. Look at that. Still static. It's good. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Right. Okay, that's interesting. 1, 2. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. How's that? Yeah, because I just changed profile on the audio interface and it changed everything. That's better. Right, yeah. Interface sometimes does this. Did it? Yes. Good point. So that's something between eCam and the interface. All right, that's interesting. Right, I'll have a look into that. What we're talking about? I was on about something. Oh, on about equipment. It also seems that commitment in the moment and recording creates a different finished compositional outcome and the advantages of analog tape. Yeah, I mean, that keeps you moving forward. Again, I think for me, because I'm a music coach, a lot of these things that we talk about, analog tape and like these things, it's using equipment that's making the decisions for us. But what if we just have a look at the inner game? Because all of this comes from one area, doesn't it? How we think and feel about what we do is something that's actually inside us. So I like to start with the natural psychology that we have towards creativity, which is divergent and convergent thinking, which is what you're bordering on, JJ, there, and where the tape is kind of helping you move on. So divergent thinking is where everything is absolutely possible and you're just doing something that's, you're just being additive all the time. Convergent thinking is like where we commit to something and then all the creative decisions are very yes and no. So you'll find convergent thinking where that mainly happens is at the end of a project when you're mixing it. So is the snare drum too loud? Yes it is, turn it down. Are the cymbals too bright? Yes they are, well EQ them, make them duller. These aren't massive creative decisions, but they're very convergent finishing decisions that we have to make, or tasks. One problem that we have in modern music is a lot of the tools are based on this convergent thinking, and what people tend to do is when they start making a piece of music, they'll start bringing in convergent thinking at the very early phase of it. In other words, they'll start mixing a track when they've only got an 8-bar loop, and then they'll end up with this perfect bit of music, right? Well, nothing's perfect, but you know what I mean. They'll think they've got this thing that sounds absolutely amazing, but they haven't finished it. But because they brought in the convergent thinking from the end of a process to the beginning, it gives them the illusion that they're in a finishing process when they haven't even started. And that's when you get to that stage of actually trying to move your track on, it's very concrete, very hard to do that. And the anxiety builds because you're frightened of making this piece of music that has so much potential, future potential. You're frightened of ruining it, so like it slows down the whole process. So I think like understanding the divergent and convergent thinking and how you can use that insight and analysis is obviously a very important thing to understand. How do you get to insight? Well, that comes from a phase of analysis. So a coach on this is like one of my specialities, coaching. I was trained by a guy called Mike Monday, who is one of the top music coaches out there. I was very lucky and I ended up coaching for him. And that leads me on to, I've got a coaching group. So anybody who's interested in making tons of music and not being creatively stuck, it could be something, maybe you want to get in contact with me. So, because what I can do is I can't take all the pain out of making music, but I can take a lot of it away, that's for sure. I mean, I sit here playing on backing tracks, right? There's my email. Because what I'm into is playing. I'm really, really into playing. But obviously, I have my original band. And for those of you who are sitting here and going, oh, he's a shred guitarist. Believe it or not, I was a dance producer. I was managed by Two Dutch for a number of years, for 2 years. I released over 122 tracks. I charted 7 times, right? This is with house music. It was ridiculous. I was supported by Paul Oakenfold, Lost Frequencies, Kid Massive, Don Diablo, were all people who would play my music out. I've been on Armada Records. So AI music, I don't think AI music's a good idea. And actually, part of the reason I'm sitting here playing guitar, right, is because this has been my favourite way at the moment to make a connection with the audience. It's a direct connection. I can play something, there's a cause and effect. And then you guys are on the other end and you can talk and you can comment and we can have a conversation. I think that's an amazing thing and I'm fascinated by it and I'm fascinated on where I'll take that. There is some developments on the horizon with this channel which are going to be pretty cool. Something happening pretty soon that I'm going to be doing, guitar related. But we will be moving back into music production at some point. And I am writing new material for my band McRocklin and Hutch. So, for those of you who are on here, all right, he's in a band, he didn't just play over backing tracks here. Like my main thing is playing, well, producing music. So I am going to play something.
I don't wanna do it no more. I don't wanna do it no more. Got me crying.
So this is called Distorted Dreams. Distorted Dreams. So yeah, that's one of the original tunes. So I'm really glad that you've been listening to that. Yeah, it's one of my favourite tunes, that. Did you just play out a power chord? Never thought I'd see the day I did, yeah. Look at that. Can you show us chordal work you like? Yeah, so there's like lots of chords that like I'd have to work them out, but there's chords that I like. Oh, you know what? My pedal's not working. I can't get onto clean. It's a big gospel-y type sounding stuff. Bear with me. Oh, I know what we can do. There we go. Stuff like this. It's that kind of sound I quite like. Hi Wayne, have a nice sleep. And that was called Aardvark in the Rain. Slight return. Oh, pleasure. The legato lessons always, yes. I totally, you know, dig doing the lessons. Fast, isn't it? I was at the edge of my abilities there. That was like a bit hairy. Right, coffee time. That was a natural machine. Oh, I can add them to bro. I should keep using this, shouldn't I? A big shredding at its finest, thank you. Yes, that was all improvised. Over I've never heard that track before. Never heard it. Oh, Chris. Oh, thank you, Chris. That reminds me, if you like what's going on here, subscribe. It was interesting because I felt completely out of control for about a lot of that. Which is what you want, isn't it? You wanna test yourself out to destruction. The definition of being musically gifted. I think we've all got that right. So we've all got the gift of music. Okay, coaching head coming on here. We're all musicians, we all listen to music, we all kind of know the language of music. Obviously I'm trained on an instrument, so what's going on in my head to some sort of blunt accuracy I can play. And then I've trained for years doing that. But other than that, because I work with a lot of people who aren't necessarily musicians, but absolutely love music and want to make music and feel they have ideas but struggle to get them out, when you start bringing music technology in the right way, music production, it liberates them. So think about how many dance producers and stuff like that who make wonderful music who can't actually like play anything. But they do have the ability to get their ideas out through a lot of them trial and error and just being confident that they know what sound that they're going for. And that's always really interested me, that. So the definition of being musically gifted is so I wouldn't say I'm musically gifted. So a little thing about me, which I've mentioned on the channel before, I have really bad dyslexia, which I'm perfectly open about, don't mind talking about. But Jesus, I suffered at school. I felt very strange. I felt there was something weird and different about me, but didn't know what it was. And I struggled in classes, and I wasn't like the other children. But I would generally hang about with the more intelligent crowd in the class, and I would have certain interests that you wouldn't think somebody who, as the teacher would describe, a bit simple would do. And I always wanted to play guitar and do music and rock music. And when I saw Michael J. Fox on Back to the Future, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like him. So my mum got me onto classical guitar, and really I was wanting to get onto rock. But anyway, if you do classical guitar, we'll get you electric guitar and then you can rock. All right then, Mum, we'll do that. So I had a vision of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a musician, and I wanted to be professional, and I didn't want to be like anybody else, and I didn't want to have a 9 to 5. I didn't want to do anything like that. I wanted to be completely although I do have a 9 to 5, by the way, but doing music. I wanted to be outside of all of that, doing my own life, free from the labour force, so to speak. And I just put the work in. That's what I did. I just simply put the work in, and because I was quite happy just playing, and it didn't seem like work, I got good at it, and I seemed to understand music. So whether that was because I practiced more than everybody else and compensated for the dyslexia, or whether, I don't think it was that at all. I think I just felt I was in a place where I understood what was going on more than I did sort of in a classroom. There you go, Kurt. You have dyslexia too. But I got diagnosed, and that was a massive relief. And then eventually, what actually happened is I had I got dyslexia lessons, and that changed everything, you know. And then I have coping strategies and stuff like that that I'll just kind of do now, that sort of level me up. But doing music was the thing that, talking about leveling up, leveled me up, I felt, to the rest of society. So it's a very, very powerful tool. And it doesn't surprise me that I have a job as a therapeutic musician in a hospital working with people with severe autism, mental health, addictions, and severe learning difficulties. You know, it all kind of makes sense when I think about it. So no, I don't mind sharing the dyslexia thing. I think it's important to share it, you know. I mean, because of that dyslexia, it gave me more determination. It gave me, I could almost think of it like a superpower. It made me decide on doing the thing that I love doing and sticking with it, you know. And, you know, having a life where I can afford a car and a house and, you know, an expensive teenage daughter, you know, a missus, you know, it's given me all of those things. So I'm very, very grateful. And there isn't a day goes past where, you know, I don't think that. Yeah, strong left brain. I'm definitely in the creative woohoo land, without a doubt. It's like you're mining for diamonds in these solos. Do you learn yourself in these jams, or look back at and think it's making... No, I look back as these are kind of like moments in time that have gone, and I learn from them. I do watch these back actually a lot of times, sometimes skipping through. Sometimes I'll put all them on and try and figure out what I'm doing and where I went wrong. There's that book, Peak, right, by, I never know the authors, right, but it's that book, you know, about the 10,000 hours, which isn't entirely true, because, you know, if you do 10,000 hours of something, you'll get, you know, good at it. It's about, practice is about the frequency and what you're doing in the practice, whether it's deliberate or purposeful practice is what it's on about. But there's an interesting chapter in this book, because what it does is it studies elite performers, and it happens to do a study of Air Force One pilots in the Vietnam War, and how basically to up their kill ratio, what they did is they started rehearsing dogfights and putting cameras on the noses of their aeroplanes, and then rehearsing situations, and then videoing them, and then watching them back, and then having discussions, and then modifying and correcting techniques, adding techniques. And that's how they became elite, basically. So that idea of, you know, playing guitar, recording yourself, I mean, you get used to it. You can see yourself playing, you can see what your technique's doing, and you can make notes. You can see actually what's happening in real time. And you can course correct, you know, you can modify, you can work out what you need to work on. And that's a great thing, because one of the things about being successful in music is simply, or I suppose in anything, is knowing what you're going to do next. It's when you don't know what you're going to do, that's when problems happen, because nothing's happening. Or even worse, in a professional situation, somebody else tells you what to do. So I prefer to be kind of proactive. And the way to do that is record yourself playing, and just face up to it, and see what improvements you can make. So I tend to think of myself as an experiment when I'm watching these back, and I try to think of it as, you know, a laboratory, as a science project, my self-development on guitar anyway. And the good thing about seeing yourself as an experiment is it just emotionally distances you. So when I talk about the inner game, you know, we have like a self one and self two, and you can read about this in the inner game of music, or at least that's the sort of classification that Barry Green goes for. And you do hear about the self one, self two, or ego and self by a number of authors. I think there's another guy, The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield, he talks about self and ego. And what we want to do is when we're playing, we want to be self. So in this improvisation that I did there, the consequences were high. It was at the edge of my ability, and I was very much in flow, playing things that I wouldn't normally play to fit in, and I'm almost unconscious a lot of the time when I'm improvising because I'm in flow. And one of the conditions of flow is to be completely embodied in the moment, because the skill to challenge ratio is within a certain range. I think they say 4 to 7%. Sorry, I know I'm babbling here. But I'm giving out as much information as I can. Oh, good. So, yeah. Now, the ego is always a problem because it's always, you know, there's that self-criticism when you're playing. Oh, that's correct. Oh, you'll be boring everybody to death with that. Oh, you keep playing the same thing. Stop it. Think of something else, right? All of this is going on in your head. You know, oh, that was a rubbish note. Why do you do legato? You should pick. You spent years doing that. Do a pick and lick now. Go on, quick. Do the pick and lick. No, you've messed it up. You say, knew you'd do that. Like, this is like self one that goes on in a bad improvisation, you know. Self two, different, quiet. There's just music and you. And that's it. There's no past. There's no future, unlike self one. We do need self one though. And this is a thing that I talk about in my coaching program a lot, is how to use self one. Self one is a brilliant critic when you give it the right environment, i.e. outside of the studio. So when I'm writing music, I always record everything down and I put it on my phone. And I have this special system that's on a Trello board called the automatic music making machine. This is like something you get in the coaching group. I'm plugging the coaching group in a minute here. And the automatic music making machine is a device where you can track where all your creative projects are in terms of the divergent convergent thinking, okay? But the point of this is that you can listen to your music and judge it away from your studio, and give yourself that kind of distance that you need. Because when we're listening to music and when we're playing to music, there are two sets of emotions. So when self one and I'm improvising is very, very heavy, the emotions that I'm going through is that emotion of failure, not feeling like you're getting it right, feeling like you're not up to the mark, desperately trying to sort things out and get to where you're wanting to be. And those tend to be quite negative, self-critical emotions. And those emotions aren't what should be happening, which is self one and self two. The book you want to read is The Inner Game of Music about this. It's like my Bible. It's amazing. It's life. If you get The Inner Game of Music and read it and start doing stuff there, it'll change your life. I guarantee it. So would my coaching program and one-to-one coaching sessions. But anyway, what was I saying? But yeah, so that's like the negative self-critical emotions. But we want to get to the music. What emotion is the music giving us? What is the music asking us to play? We don't want to design into the music. Self one pushes us in there and tells us to design. Play these lecks that you've worked so hard on. Just make it fit, do something. And that's not how music works. Music is much more of a spiritual interaction where you are asking, you accept music is bigger than you, and you're asking you, doesn't matter what music it is that's playing, what is the music asking me to play? Okay? How should I respond to it? And that's the kind of thinking that you want to have. Right, so, hi Tracy. Much love to your mum for guiding you and calling, and yep, practice makes perfect. Tim, Tim, I can relate to learning disabilities. We learn to adjust to make it work for us. Absolutely. And that within itself can be a superpower. It can make you unique and develop something that nobody else has got. Well, so, I mean, yes, it was feel. It was just I was feeling and stuff was coming out. Yes, I heard there's Andy Edwards, and I'm sure Andy Edwards was talking about why potentially he thought Alan might have been self-critical, and part of that was probably due to him being brought up, I heard, by his grandparents, who would have been from a wartime generation, so there'd been that generational gap. So he never really knew. He didn't really have anybody around him, like a father, critiquing him in a positive way. They just didn't know what he was doing when he was growing up. So he's always kind of left to his own devices to judge himself. Hi Tim, what you're talking about is very important. It is, and I don't think enough musicians talk about this. Now I'm very lucky and fortunate because for me, I got a coach back in 2014. I ended up coaching from, I mentioned him before, Mike Monday, and he coached me for a lot of years and really got my dance career going. He actually coaches Jax Jones and Claude Von Stroke, who were massive producers, I ended up coaching for him, and he trained me, and that's why I know all of this stuff. It's because of him, and then it's also because then I've coached like literally thousands of people, and then there's all the sort of like music hospital work I do, which is again sort of that coaching angle. And what I mean by, when I talk about coaching, what I mean about coaching is I'm not teaching a skill, right? People gets mixed up. Coaching isn't about teaching a skill. What it's about is, right, it's saying to somebody, you've already got the skills. What we need to do is, I need to help you facilitate those skills in order for you to make your connection to the world. And what I mean by connection is making music that you're happy with, creating a situation that you're comfortable with, that you're happy to go out and connect with people and make the world a better place. That's what coaching is about. It's incredibly empowering when you say to somebody, you've already got the skills. We just need to kind of build an environment or we need to help you just understand that the skills you've got and how you can use them, you can achieve the goals that you've got. And everybody has that. A lot of it is that holds us back is because we come from an education system that's 250 years out of date. We're trained to think that working hard equals good, and that's not true. Enjoying the work that you want to do is much better, isn't it? Not working hard. You will work hard if you're enjoying what you're doing. Like I work really hard on guitar, but I'm not, I don't get into this training of working hard equals good on something that you don't like doing. So yeah, so like I suppose the manifesto in a way is, I say to people, you already have the skills to make great music. You already have the potential to become an A-lister musician, and you can potentially make a living from music as well. So we all have that. It's just whether you're prepared to kind of take that route. What people do is they'll just go on YouTube or buy courses or go to a university and learn skills and stuff like that. I'm not being anti-education because I have 2 master's degrees, right? So I needn't talk. But the thing that's actually given me most gains is actually realising, stop getting more skills, Tim, and just use what you've got. That's what really helped me. JJ, my wife has no music skills, but she will. There'll be something there. So that has been a really good chat. I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed talking about coaching. I've enjoyed talking about creativity. Even done like a little chromatic lesson. It's been full on today, hasn't it? Learning stuff. The amount of goodness packed into this show, broadcast I should say, has been great. And it's obviously been a pleasure entertaining you guys. But it's time for me to go. There isn't a stream tomorrow because I'm doing my stretching. I'm in physio. because I've got rotator cuff injuries, which I'm overcoming quite successfully. Oh, hi Chili, how you doing? You see, he comes on right at the end. And then just does a smiling face. He's happy because I've ended now. Good, just making sure you're going. That's what Chili's for. Have a great day. Thank you, Chili. Well, you're not rid of me just yet because I will be going live with Thomas on Saturday. So that's exciting, isn't it? Something to look forward to. So going live and then probably eating a kebab afterwards, no doubt, because that's what we do every time. So I change a routine. All right. Where's the off button? All right. Thank you, Arcade. And thank you, everybody. All right. Bye.